Jen here, and I have a layout for you guys for Christy's 30 Days of Sketches series. This is her 5th time doing this series, and I think that's so amazing. And she has lots of people joining her this time. So there is Daisy and Moira and Crystal from Pineapple Papers and Shannon from She's Crafty, and a few guests popping in every day. So it's a huge series with lots and lots of inspiration, lots of really fun sketches, and I love when she asks me to join because I love sketches. I really find that sketches, they help me to break out of my shell a little bit, but they also kind of bring me back to what is my comfort zone and what are the styles and the things that I like. So I feel like with sketches, sometimes they test my boundaries and they kind of get me to do things, but they still remind me of what I really enjoy. Does that make sense? I don't know. I like sketches. So you saw the sketch that we're using today for April 20th. It is Earth Day. Happy Earth Day, everybody. And what drew me to this sketch is definitely just that mixed media that you see, that strip of mixed media going right through the sketch. I love that so much. So yes, I was really excited to see this sketch and decided I was going to definitely want to play along today. So you can see what I'm doing right here. I pulled out my Prima watercolor palette. I haven't used this one very often, so I was kind of happy to pull it out because it has these beautiful, bright, vibrant colors, and I really wanted to do a rainbow right across the paper. There was a challenge from one of the designers in the Secret Not Secret Kit Club scrap party that just happened this past weekend, and her challenge was to do a rainbow palette, and so I've kind of been thinking about that ever since I saw the video, and here we go. Here's my rainbow palette. So I think it turned out so pretty. I love it so much. I love with watercolors how you can really kind of get lots of variations of each color, not just as you're transitioning through the rainbow, but also within each color too. So it's just lots of fun to play with it. And the picture that I'm using doesn't really have a color palette that kind of stands out, that I kind of could tell right away from the photo that I wanted to go in a certain direction. So I thought the rainbow would be fun. And the picture is just, I actually never even posted this picture because I had been crying that day, so my face is all puffy and I look kind of crappy, but I kept it. I printed the picture and I kept it. It was the day that my husband and I officially called our social worker and said yes to being matched with our boys. And that got us on the process of being able to meet them and transition to bringing them home. So it was definitely a happy moment. I just didn't really like this particular picture. And then I got busy doing other stuff that needed to get done and never retook the picture. But I did print it out, so I thought, I'm going to go ahead and scrap it. It just popped up in my Facebook memories that we had said yes. Even though I didn't post this picture, we still did a little post after we told our parents and we told all of the important people that needed to know from us face to face. I did a little post, and so that recently just popped up in my Facebook memories. So I kind of had it on my mind and pulled this photo out. So it's not a very good quality photo, and you can see the colors are kind of boring. So I just wanted to liven it up a bit because it was such a happy memory for, just being such a blah picture. So I think the rainbow really brings some of that happiness through. And then I went through my How to Kill a Kit with Style kit and pulled out a few little elements that I thought might work to embellish it. So I have that what's it called? Like the viewfinder piece that I cut out of of a piece of chamois paper. It's purple, so I thought it worked good with the whole rainbow, and it says on this day, so I thought that that kind of worked well. And then I'm going through little bits of ephemera that I have left over from all different kinds of collections. So I found these little labels, and one says I love today and the other one says wonderful things do happen. So those were both gray, so I thought they kind of worked as just being a neutral. I backed my photo with some black and white paper. Those were just scraps that I used in a layout a couple days ago, and I just kind of wanted to keep that neutral, but I wanted something to mat the photo that would stand out a little bit from all the colors in that background. So my plan here is to do a little embellishment cluster up at the top. You can see me kind of putting that together here. I found a rub-on. It looks like I had cut it out. It's just like a paint swipe. I must have cut it out and put it in with my embellishments, but it's too old, it's dried up, it's not working. So I scrapped that idea and I just used some paint. My paint was still out and it was still wet, so I thought, okay, I'll go ahead and just do my own little swipe. So I did it in the blues and the greens because my picture kind of covers up most of that blue, so it just brings a little bit of that back into the layout. So I'll put a little cluster up here. There is a little piece at the top in the sketch, so I wanted that to happen in my layout too, even though it's not exactly in the same place. And then I decided to go ahead and mat my entire layout. The way that the sketch looks, I think it probably the little like stitching that you see could actually kind of represent hand stitching in kind of a crooked way, just skewing the layout a little bit. But I'm not going to pull out any thread. I'm not going to stitch on this, but I thought it might be nice to do a mat in the background, and then I'm going to stamp my little kind of stitching lines. So I chose this pink paisley paper. I really debated between using the yellow or using that blue that was the chamois paper where I cut that little viewfinder from. It probably would have worked with the other side of this paper too, which was more of that quilt, kind of the quilt pattern paper that Paige Evans always has in her collections. But in the end, I went with the yellow. I feel like the yellow kind of got cut out a little bit from the rainbow. It's kind of, even though I feel like it has such a big impact because it's so bright, it's the smallest little strip of color. So I made up for it by using yellow as my background. And now I'll just finish my little cluster up at the top here. That paint's not quite dry, so I go back and I'll stick it down better. I popped up my photo too, so there's a little bit of foam. You saw me cut that little hippo apart. That's my last little hippo. Now I'm back to just normal, boring old rectangles. And I have these little enamel dots. They're really pretty though. They're not solid. They're a little bit translucent, so they kind of have a almost like a dewdrop look to them, and I think they're really pretty, and they're also yellow, so again, bringing in a little bit of that. And this is from another pink paisley collection, and it has the rainbow, and I kind of put it down, and when I saw that it doesn't perfectly line up with the colors that I have down, but they're very, very close, I thought that that would look really nice. And then that kind of gives me a place where I can go ahead and put my title. So my title is going to be It's a Match, because obviously you can see in my picture I have that sign that says We Said Yes. So I really debated on what my title should be, but I think It's a Match works pretty good. And I'm using those kind of rose gold thickers. I can't remember which collection those come from. I feel like it's a Pink Fresh collection, but it could be Pink Paisley. Yeah, I can't remember. I'm sorry. once things get into my kits, I don't always have them in their packaging, and so I don't always remember who made them. That's bad of me, but they're very pretty, and I kind of like how scripty they are, and you can kind of fit them all together to make it look like it's been handwritten. So yeah, I went ahead and did that. And in the sketch, there's a little banner in that same sort of direction, and that's where they've put the title. So I like that washi tape kind of gives me the same feeling. And so to do my stitching, I pulled out a stamp from the No Place Like Home collection from Wild Whisper. It's a collection that's a few years old. It's one of their very first ones, and I love this little stamp. It's little tiny arrows, and I thought it would kind of replicate that same stitching that you see in the original sketch. So it's stamped so nicely too. And then because saying yes to being matched with the boys and wanting to meet them and transition, like basically at that meeting we said yes to them being part of our family. There's no kind of you meet them and then decide you don't like them or anything like that. When you say yes, you say yes. So we were getting ready to bring them home. So in that No Place Like Home collection or a stamp set is those 3 little homes. And so I thought that would just be a fun little thing to kind of add in there as a detail that kind of offsets the little embellishment cluster up at the top. And just, I don't know, it's just a little bit of interest in that white space there. And so there isn't a ton of extra embellishment in the actual sketch. The majority of it is kind of taken up with this big title and then this big place to write your journaling. And so I wanted to add some embellishment that really blended into the rainbow but still gave you a little bit of interest. So I pulled out those really tiny little pearl, they're like flat back pearls that I got from BB Craft. I did a haul of the stuff that I got from them, so I'll link that so you can go ahead and take a look. They're really cute little teeny tiny pearls, and I found a few colors that matched my rainbow pretty okay, not perfectly. So I mean, in a way I kind of like that because it makes them stand out a little bit, but I just did color on color and put a few of those in there. And now I'm sprinkling some gold, and I know the rose gold and the Heidi Swap gold are not the same, but I still think it's really fun to sprinkle a bunch of that, and I like the way that it looks on the rainbow colors. And then I decided to do some black too, because again, I love the way that the black really makes those colors even more vibrant. And that is it. That is my layout. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. And the links for Christy and Moira and Daisy and Crystal and Shannon are all down below, so you can go ahead and check out their videos for today as well. Until next time, happy scrapping. Stay safe. Bye.